You dropped your book. Yes, you dropped your book.
Is that mine? You stole my book. Oh, here. What are you doing? That you said you didn't read much.
Well, what is much? Night, Rory.
Hey everyone! I have really started to notice that I have this habit while I'm reading. A lot of people have told me that they also have this same habit. I'll be reading and literally like I am possessed by a ghost, like the binge from Paranormal Activity. I will start reaching my hand towards where my phone is while I'm reading every couple of pages. It's just automatic and I've really started noticing it recently. And then the other thing is that I end up falling asleep like clockwork. Past like 20-minute mark, I will start feeling myself get really sleepy and I'll just nap. And like, listen, I'm a sleepy girl, okay? But it's been like noticeably bad, like noticeably worse. I can't live like this. I can't do it. If you've been on the internet, I'm sure that you've heard about this famous study. They studied from 2000 to 2015 and it showed that the average attention span of a person has dropped from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, which is famously less than a goldfish's attention span. This specific statistic has been debunked here and there. I invite you guys to go read it and make an opinion for yourself if you'd like. My opinion is that the image of a goldfish is really catchy and it was just able to stick. But even if the numbers weren't completely telling the truth, I feel like there's no arguing about the fact that something has changed and it's our attention span. I made a video a while back talking about how to get out of doom scrolling. Considering that, it does not surprise me at all that our attention span has declined. And anecdotally for me, I feel like I've been able to see it severely. So I have been on a mission to try to fix my attention span so that I can read like I used to and not literally be falling into a death coma after 20 minutes of reading. So in this video, I've compiled a couple of my favorite simplistic but easy tips. You guys know the vibe. The name of the game is work smarter, not harder. That is literally my mantra, and the intention with this is for it to have like a reciprocal effect, because here's one thing I do know about the human brain is that it can change, and the more that you exercise a certain way of thinking or behavior, the more automatic it will become. So aka the more that we can focus on reading without distraction, then the easier it might be to concentrate for long periods throughout the day on the day-to-day. Now the activity of reading is a bit of a special and different task than your regular whatever task, because reading and other things also like a movie, podcast, or whatever is storytelling. Storytelling has a different way that it impacts our attention. Storytelling has a way of pulling us into a very special, immersive state. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably like reading and you like books, so you know what I'm talking about. If you're one of the letterbox hoes, I know that you know what I'm talking about. But how exactly does this happen? Great question. It's through a little special something called empathy. When we see a story that we can relate to, we start paying attention to it because it's familiar and our brain loves familiar things. But that's not enough to keep our attention for that long period of time. It brings us in with something familiar and then it keeps us hooked by introducing sparks of novelty, and that is what sustains our attention. So the key is emotions. And you know what? Maybe the real friends were the emotions that we made along. For example, as we go on to the story, we might encounter something really surprising, and that will trigger feelings of fascination, that will trigger feelings of shock. If there's something really tense and suspenseful, then that could trigger feelings of anxiety, fear, and then seeing anything relatable will then trigger feelings of empathy, nostalgia, happiness, sadness. You get the vibes. And this storytelling is pretty much the cheat code. And the reason why maybe you will remember an advertisement that you watched one time, but it pulled at these like crazy tear triggers more than the same flashy ad that's just punched into you again and again and again. So then how do we improve our attention span? So now let's get into my personal guide for trying to fix your attention span in order to become a better reader. The first thing I'm barely gonna talk about because it literally goes without saying. The foundation, having a healthy sleep schedule. That means avoiding screens at night. That means trying to get some daily exercise in. It's literally just taking care of yourself and your cognition, and it sounds basic, but like for a reason. Let's fix your sleep deprivation. Okay, stand up, girl. The next part is about choosing what you're gonna read. You want to try to leverage this like narrative transportation by finding text that is not purely expository text. And I know that this is gonna shake some of these finance bros, but you know what? They're probably not watching this video. If you're transported into a story, you're gonna be more deeply immersed. You're gonna have more emotional involvement, and intuitively, it will sustain your attention better. So you wanna try to pick things that are framed through like a character narrative, something that has a plot with conflict. If you're really into nonfiction, maybe you wanna try looking for like a biography or like a narrative journal, something that is not just textbook writing. After you picked your choice, Sophie's choice. Now you want to start small and then just try to gradually build up the amount of time. It's like progressive overload and exercise. You can set a timer to start for just a couple. You can literally start with like 5 minutes without any distraction and then up that every single time. 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Just gradually lengthen your reading sessions. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. No one is looking except for you and no one cares. You can also gradually increase the length of whatever you're reading. Shorter texts like short stories, essays, poetry books, things on Substack. I will always recommend something like The Little Prince. It's almost a children's story, but it's so timeless and it's for anyone, and I think it's a really approachable book. Something like the Stargirl books. This is the first one and this is the second one. Classics that I think are for everyone, but they're also really short. Literally any of the Roald Dahl books. So good. You can read it and watch the movie. FG has a movie. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has a movie. Matilda's probably my favorite, and I also love the movie for this one. I've read these books so many times my whole life. Flipped is probably one of my most favorite books and movies of all time. Again, good for every single age, short and easy to read because it's about middle school kids. Any of the Gordon Corman books I think are really easy to read also. If graphic novels are more your thing, you could go for a graphic novel. If you want to like fuller novels, I think that the John Green books are really good, like beginner novels. And they all have movies for them, so something like children novels are great. This one, The Tale of Despair by Kate DiCamillo, is actually the book that got me into reading in the 2nd grade. And this is probably the first full-length novel that I've ever read in my entire life. And it says my name right there from when I first got my very own copy. And then other just miscellaneous shorter books on my shelf that I think are really good for if you're just starting out and want to get used to reading for long periods of time. The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. I think the Agatha Christie mystery books are really easy to read and quite short. And then this is the James Bond book by Ian Fleming. My next 2 things are about environment, which I think are equally as important. The first thing is try to figure out for yourself where in your day you feel like you have the most capacity for like being alert, where you will be less likely to feel distracted or tired or fatigued or whatever. So for some people that could be like early in the day, as soon as you wake up your eyes at the butt crack of dawn. And then for some people it could be like in the middle of the day on your break. I'm actually about to make lunch now, like I do every single day, and eat at this table every single day. And this to me is the time that I know I'm not gonna fall asleep. And it's like 15 to 20 minutes because I eat really fast. Of dedicated time where I can just like focus on this one task. I don't ever risk reading right in the morning unless I like slept really early the night before and then sleeping for like 16 hours straight, and then I wake up at like 5 a.m, you know, one of those, and I'm like genuinely not tired at all. Then maybe I will read a little bit, but it's too risky on like the everyday wake up by my alarm. 110% gonna fall asleep. So I know that I don't read in the morning. Midday during my lunch, either that or in my bed right before I'm about to go to sleep. I pretty much exclusively read to fall asleep. I fall asleep with the Kindle in my hand, and I wake up and automatically I feel around my pillow to find my Kindle the next morning. I've been doing that every single day since the ripe age of like 12, 13. Minimum 20 minutes, maximum hours if I finish an entire book. If you talk about my bare bed, I'll literally block you. I'm literally the opposite of like a squishmallow jelly cat girl. Matter of fact, I move this pillow to the side when I go to sleep because I like sleeping completely flat like a psychopath. The name of the game is to try to create as least cognitive load as possible while you're reading. Hearing notifications from your phone, feeling like you need to check your email. I mean, I already talked about how to chop your phone in my doom scrolling videos. You can go watch that. It could be a dedicated like corner or dedicated chair. I know a lot of people have that. In this economy, I personally don't have the real estate, but I definitely know what places to avoid. Anyway, those are all the tips that I have for this video. So we can be in it to win it together. So subscribe down below if you haven't already. Follow me on my socials, they're all linked in the description. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
You're so pretty.